So here's my transmission control module, TCM. Came out of a 2014 Ford Focus, and I separated it. This video is going to show you how I got it separated and what I did to try to fix it and what you need to do. So here's the module in my kitchen. And what I did is I set my oven temperature at about 200 degrees because engine temperature, transmission temperature get somewhere close to that. You don't want to go too high. And then I let it preheat. And I just put the module in there all by itself. And I let it heat up for about an hour. And then I took it out and I started prying it with some screwdrivers to get it separated. It took me about 3 times. I had to take it out, pry on it for about 3 minutes, and then put it back in for another 15 minutes. And take it back out and do that over and over to get that adhesive to release so it would come apart. So like I said, I heated it up in the oven, wore these gloves, and started using screwdrivers and kind of just separating it. I started on one end and I just walked it around. Had multiple screwdrivers in there at one time. Put them in the oven with it, and just keep working at the adhesive until finally I got it to come apart. When it comes apart, you got to pull it straight off because there's some terminals in there that you don't want to bend. You don't want to bend these guys right here. So you want to pull it straight up. Okay, so now I got it apart. I looked over the circuit board, didn't see any obvious problems, any burnt anything. But I did notice when it comes apart, this capacitor fits in these terminals here on this black holder. And I'm gonna have to find a way to put that back in there because I don't think it's just gonna snap right back in when I put it back together. So I did measure this capacitor, and it measures at about 2200 microfarads, which what they're selling online for. So I think this capacitor is good. I just had to figure out how to wire it back in when I put it back together. The other common problem on the internet is they say that these press fit connectors may be failing, not connecting. So they say to solder those. So they look good, but I'm still going to solder them all just to give them a solid contact. Okay, so I soldered these here, all these connections, all the ones over here, all these here, ones around these big spade connectors, and then I did most of them here, and I'll show you how I solder them. Some of these need a lot of heat to flow good. You gotta have a pretty good soldering iron. Put the heat on, the solder in, take the solder away, and then heat away. Heat on, solder in, solder away, and then heat away. There, that's all of them. Okay, so I cleaned most of the adhesive out of the grooves all the way around on both halves, so it'll go back together. And I added leads to the capacitor. Now attach them when I put it together. I'm going to put it together without adhesive first and test drive it and see if it fixes it. If it does, then I'll take it apart and seal it, because it's got to be sealed, because otherwise it get water in there from driving down the road. So it'll have to be sealed in the end if it fixed it. So I installed it back in the vehicle. Reverse worked again. It drove fine. Came back home, shut it off, restarted it a few minutes later. It's back to no reverse and first, third, and fifth gears only. So I'll probably take it apart again, take another look at it, see if I can figure out what's wrong with it. But good luck with yours, and thanks for watching.